Welcome everybody. We're going to be talking about influencer marketing. I'm James Davis, CTO and co-founder of Roster. We were formerly Wooly. We're an ambassador marketing platform. Super excited to be here with Samantha Forrest and Alex McArthur. Samantha was the first full-time hire at Lola Blankets and is head of brand marketing and was previously with Pura and Made by Mary, right? Alex, currently with Tavala, and previously with Kizik and Purple Mattress, and is the CMO at all those companies. So I really like the dynamic we have here for the discussion. We have Samantha, who's got her feet on the street, running an influencer program at Lola that is crushing it. They're doing a really great job. And Alex, who throughout his career has been getting in early at e-com startups and then blowing them up in a good way, right? Yeah, like that's what he keeps doing. And we're gonna watch him at Tavala and see how he works his magic. So this is gonna be a great discussion and these guys have a lot of knowledge to share and a lot of experience on influencer marketing. So to kick things off, I would like to get a better understanding of how you guys are running your strategy, your overall marketing strategy. How do you define your target customers, and how does that fit into your overall marketing strategy? Just tell us a little bit about that. Give us the lay of the land of how your brands are running their marketing strategy overall, and then we'll dig in a little deeper into how influencer marketing fits in. So, Alex, would you want to start on that?
Come on, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, so I mean, at each of the brands I've been a part of in recent years, it was quite a bit different, from Purple to Kizik to now Tavala. In the Purple days, that was, a little bit different time when the influencer game wasn't quite as strong, and we actually worked together on some projects back then where we actually saw some meaningful lift. But at the time, it was kind of the Wild West, so we would just try random things and see wins here and there, but it wasn't really a scaled program. At Kizik, we had an individual on our team named Rue who really crushed it internally for us, and we did a lot of internal influencer marketing, a lot of gifting, and that did a lot of lifting for the brand and the awareness there. At Tavala, we're just figuring it out. So I'm here to learn from Samantha because we don't have a plan yet, and we will figure it out soon. But so over the years, it's really evolved for me where in the beginning, it was just like one of those things that like everybody's talking about it, let's do it. And now it's like a necessary part of an e-commerce plan. We all see the constraints on meta advertising, every platform squeezing you for every dollar that they can. And influencers a game where there's opportunities. I mean, I know that the influencers you all work with, you continue to see people ask for more money just like Meta does, but there's always opportunities because there's so many new influencers all the time. So I like to look for opportunistic moments where it's maybe people that aren't all the way there yet. They're not like the big timers. That's where I've found the most success. And not saying that's the only playbook, but that's what we've relied on.
Okay. Good. Anything you want to add, Sam?
I would just say from a marketing perspective, brand is at the frontmost part of everything we do. And so I'm sure we'll dive into this as we continue the conversation, but influencer has been a huge part of that. We've been around for about 3.5 years, so we're still a fairly new brand, but we've had explosive growth over the last 2 years or so. And a large part of that is just due to influencers and collaborations, ambassadors, all of the things.
Okay.
So quick reminder, listen to her and don't listen to me right now. Like old school, she's doing the things that work now.
So of the new customers coming in, which areas of marketing would you say are contributing to the most new customers coming in? I'm just curious from your point of view, which strategies are you doing in marketing that's contributing to the most growth right now?
I can take that. I would say influencers are, it's one of our channels where we're getting the most new customer acquisition. We ran a big campaign in August, and about 80% of the new customers that we acquired came from influencers specifically. So just a huge amount of growth from that channel specifically in regards to new customers.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching the food space, I'm sure you see countless, door inserts, digital ads from HelloFresh, Factor. Tavala, the brand I'm a part of, is kind of the fast follower, and a lot of the brands that I've been a part of have tried to be the fast follower. Casper raised hundreds of millions of dollars. Purple followed quickly, didn't raise meaningful money, saw, high growth. Kizik quickly followed Allbirds, who had raised substantial money. So one of my strategies to gain, brand attention, even if this is maybe a little bit evil, is to follow, the companies that are paving the way, educating others, and then building a better product and, the right thing for the customer. So unfortunately, it is hurtful to the ones that just raise substantial money, but it's often providing the better product for the customer.
Okay. So referred customers, do you track referred customers differently, or do you see any kind of difference in their LTV? Have you done any metrics on that, or looked into that at all? If you've noticed if a referred customer tends to be more profitable for your business? Is that?
I don't have hard numbers, but
Yeah.
we know that referred customers are always better. I mean, I had better numbers with Kizik and Purple. I'm fairly new to Tavala, but it's a priority for us because in the food space, most are losing significant money. Like, they'll acquire a customer, they're hoping to capture them for a long period of time, but then they lose them within 6 months, and so it's a burn, like every customer they gain. Tavala has really high LTV. It's part of why I wanted to join. And so, yeah, it's retention and, referral are pivotal parts of the food business for sure. So
Got it.
Yeah, it's a priority for us to
Yeah.
not just try to acquire customers that want to try it. Like, we want people that want to enjoy the experience for years to come.
I had a friend recommend the Uni, the pizza oven, and I use it. We share recipes. Whenever I use it, I think about my friend. We have this connection between the brand and my friend. It's like a three-way connection where I just feel like it strengthens my loyalty to the brand in a way because my friend also loves the brand. So I don't know. I feel like that has a lot of impact. A referred customer can be very influential to the growth of the business. So, as we are on that topic, I want to learn a little bit more about your overall influencer marketing strategy, why you choose to do influencer marketing strategy, and what your overall playbook is. So, if you can start out just telling us why are you? What are the what are the numbers behind it, or why is it part of your overall marketing strategy to do influencer marketing?
Yeah, influencers are one of our largest marketing channels at our company. I've been in the influencer industry for my whole career, and so I love this industry. It's, like I was saying, brand is at the front and center of everything that we're doing, and influencers really help tell the brand story and really help drive new customers, all the things. We have a few different ways that we utilize influencers. We use ambassadors, and so we use Roster, plug for Roster. Roster's been great as our ambassador software tracking system. And we also have paid influencers that we work with, and then we also do blanket collaborations. The blanket collaborations really helped put us on the map in terms of just all the noise with all the other competition. We started doing that at the beginning of the business, launching new blankets with influencers, and that really helped to be able to design blankets with them and help them tell their story. But yeah, we utilize influencers in so many different ways. We do commission, we do paid structure, our collaborations, so we utilize them all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the things I love about influencer are the moments that you can't quite prepare for. Like one moment when we were using Wooly years ago, which is now Roster, right?
Yeah, right.
I think Purple was one of your earliest
one of our
customers.
first customers, yeah.
We had a moment where, we're like, are we gaining momentum? And all of a sudden we see with Wooly that Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, bought a purple pillow. We're like, we made it! We didn't really make it, but it's cool to see, the word of mouth that happens when the right people talk about your product. In terms of the strategy, like, it's complicated for me because every time I've tried to take a big swing at like a big influencer, it's never worked for me. I think, again, Samantha's had more success there. I've just seen consistent success with, medium, smaller influencers, and doing that at scale. It like really pushing the brand to a new level for me. But again, I'm not an expert on influencer by any means. But that the angle of like consistently gifting, finding your audience, like it allows you to leverage with advertising. You keep trying to run ads, get in front of your target audience. With influencer, you can find somebody that already has the audience and try something really quickly and learn faster, I think, than it used to be. The game was, test and learn with ads over and over and over, and you'll find what you want. And it's so much harder to do that than it used to be. And influencer has a new, I think, almost advantage there.
Yeah, on the paid ad side. So you do get some brand awareness from that, but is it different? Like when you have ambassadors and influencers sharing your brand, like how do you feel like, how different is that? I imagine that Lola's probably running some paid ads as well, but you have a very strong influencer program. How do you feel like the brand awareness is compared to your paid ad strategy with your influencer strategy?
Yeah, so they actually go hand in hand. We use influencers for most of our paid media. So most of the creators that we're working with in a paid capacity, we activate them and get whitelist access from them so that we can run dark ads through their account. So we do that for 30, 60, 90 days. Some of our creators we have in perpetuity. So we find that our just, graphic static paid ads that we're running just as a brand always perform better when they're in tandem with influencer, because again, it's kind of that word of mouth that you were talking about. The more people that feel like are talking about the brand, just the overall better performance your ads are going to have.
Okay, good. How often are you running, so this might be a question more for Sam, how often are you running campaigns with your influencers? What's the cadence? How do you determine that, when to do it, and that kind of thing?
So every day is the short answer, but we're always running campaigns with influencers. It kind of varies based on what group we put them in. Our ambassadors, we always have a discount code for them. They can always share. They have a link to our website. That sort of thing. We do product launches usually once or twice a month. And so anytime we do a new product launch, we're sending PR boxes, having people post. And then we have a few big sale moments throughout the year, and those sale moments are the time that we go all out with our influencer strategy. So we have paid influencers, ambassadors, new collaborations launch, all the things. So yeah, every day have influencers posting, and I think that's really important for brands as well, is that constant stream of always feeling like you have people talking about you and in your corner is super important.
Got it.
Yeah, again, Lola's extremely ahead of what we're doing at Tavala now. We're really just kind of getting an influencer program going, but in past brands we had all the the good commission programs and all those things going, but at the moment, watch and see if we can gain some momentum, because we're in the works of doing some memorable campaigns, and we try to get these new influencers we're getting relationships with to amplify the campaigns and the stories that we're trying to tell. And it just creates validation when they see an ad from you, and they're learning about your brand, and then they see 3 or 4 or 5 people that they follow talk about you. It's hard to get that kind of credit. It's the reason D2C brands continue to blow up is primarily due to the influencer game of it took decades to build a brand before. Now it takes months or years, a couple years.
You mentioned creating a relationship, building relationships with your creators and your influencers. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, how do you find the right ones? How do you determine whether they're a good fit or you move on? And so tell us a little bit more about that strategy and how you work with your influencers and find them and then decide whether you continue to work with them or not.
I'd say relationships are the most important part of influencer marketing, and that's, I think, what makes a brand is how you communicate with your audience and then also the people who are working with you. Honestly, like influencers are like your greatest advocates if they love your product. So, I mean, I have text threads that I'm texting our influencers and especially the creators that we're working with on a daily basis. I was texting one 5 minutes before I got on stage up here. And then I have a team who is just constantly DMing over Instagram, emailing, all the things. So we're in constant communication. But I mean, we try to go above and beyond. Like we send birthday presents, new house gifts, baby gifts, all the things. Like we just try to be part of people's lives every single day. And I feel like as a brand that goes a long way because, you know, one thing that I found is there's so many brands in the world and they're all trying to work with the best influencers. And so how can you really make your brand stand out to those creators as well?
I might steal Samantha's phone at the end because no influencers are texting me as of yet. So, I mean, we're pretty spoiled to be in Utah where most of your neighbors are probably influencers, right? Seems like there's a disproportionate amount of influencers here. I do think that's an advantage. I think it was an advantage for the previous brands that I've been able to help build. So for me, it's, you know, going to as many events as I can here in the state, making connections. I've always loved networking and getting to know people. That just pays for itself in spades. I don't know. I've hired more talented people than me in the influencer space that know the connections. But for me, I've just loved to continue to increase the budget within the team of gifting. Like, I've never seen gifting not pay for itself. I mean, we might change our strategy. We might adjust who we're gifting to, but like constantly increasing that budget has never not paid for itself and created new lifts.
Okay. So are there certain qualities or characteristics in an influencer specifically that you feel like you know that they're going to be a good match for your brand or a good long-term, you know, partnership? Like what are things that you're looking for when you're working with these influencers? So let's double click on that a little bit.
I would say authenticity first and foremost. I mean, we find the most success with people who just genuinely love our product to begin with. You know, blankets, our blankets are the best. They're the softest blankets in the world. And we gift all of our creators before we do any sort of paid partnership or commission, anything. We just want to make sure they first and foremost love the product. So I'd say that's probably like a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me of the question. I was thinking about your answer.
That was a good answer. Characteristics of influencers. Yeah, things that you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, so the brands that I've associated myself with always have had substantial differentiation. So Purple, in a world where everything was, you know, memory foam beds, we had a gel bed. Kizik, we had the world's first hands-free shoes. Tovala is like differentiated pretty substantially in the meal delivery space. I value that in the influencers I work with as well, that they're differentiated. You know, there's more and more influencers constantly out there, and a lot of them tend to do the same things and they don't stand out. So the same way I like to build my brands, I like to associate with influencers that have their own unique personality, as you know, as you mentioned, authentic. I do think that word can get overused sometimes, but I think there are creators that truly have a unique angle. Like one thing Tovala did, have you guys seen that puppet that looks like a little tiger and he makes little recipes, and that guy's account's gone pretty well, and Tovala did a collaboration with him, and that, you know, was something that resonated because he was known in the recipe space. But like, there's a million food influencers, but how many influencers have a tiger puppet that, you know, is getting all this attention? So I look for differentiation with influencers for sure. Okay.
At Roster, we work with a lot of brands, and one of the biggest questions, or the main questions we get, is what is the best strategy? How should we be running our program? And also, we see that the brands that are, as we're looking at the analytics and the data of the brands that are being most successful, the ones that are being most successful are the ones that are able to keep their ambassadors and influencers excited to continue to share, excited to continue to promote your brand and rep your brand, instead of just come in and be a one-hit wonder influencer and never work with you again, or not even produce much of a result. But now that you've found influencers that are a good match for your brand, how do you keep them excited to continue to rep your brand? And we could also touch on ambassadors too, and maybe what the difference is if we're going to get into incentives or anything like that. But tell me a little bit more about how you keep them excited.
One thing I always like to think about is how can we do the expected in an unexpected way? So we are always trying to go above and beyond with our gifting, the new product launches, all the things. So last month we did something really fun and kind of crazy. We went across the country and gifted 7 influencers custom Polaris razors as part of a big campaign we were running. And so a lot of people are like, blankets, razors, what's the correlation? And honestly, we were like, this is just a lot of fun, and we want to gift and like tie it into our big Christmas in August as like a Christmas present. And so I would say like just being unexpected with creators, like how, because that's like the thing where you're going to get the most genuine reaction from them, and them actually like talking and sharing about your brand is when you're doing things that they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this brand just did this for me. This is insane. So.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that because I agree 100%. I mean, some of the most successful things that I remember our team doing at Purple as things were growing, we rented like a suite in a New York hotel and invited as many influencers as we could in New York, and we filled the tubs with Purple squishies and tried to create all these memorable experiences that were photo worthy, and that was a great event. Brett, who's here, who's run a lot of the, Kizik and Purple's best projects, ran a influencer campaign that we did a hike in the Catskill Mountains. So creating experiences, I think, have been the moment that, one other comes to mind. When we opened our first Kizik store, we put, I know food and shoes sounds really weird together, but we put all this food out and made this experience that people could try on the new shoes, but there was crazy food set up there that was just so photo worthy and memorable.
Yeah.
So to me, that's been something that's made a substantial difference, where they're getting reached out to all the time. How can we make them have a good time? How can we help them have a good time? How can we set it up so they want to participate with our brand rather than just asking over and over?
Okay. Great advice for the white glove experience with bigger influencers, right? What about the micro and ambassador programs that you guys run? How do you keep them excited to continue to rep your brand? And do you run campaigns differently? What does that look like? Tell us a little bit more about how you, because maybe, I don't know if everybody's familiar with, all these terms kind of mesh together. Influencer, ambassador, creator, what is it? What does it mean? In my view, and we work with a lot of companies that do this, influencers are typically those with the higher followings and things like that, and ambassadors could be your everyday customers. Just everyday people with less following, or friends and family and neighbors who are recommending your brand, and you can be working with thousands of ambassadors at a time and maybe just 10s to 20s or 30s of influencers, right? So with that in mind, how do you work with ambassadors, and how do you keep them motivated and excited to rep your brand?
So we actually didn't pay any creators for the whole first 2 years of the business. And so everybody was an ambassador for us, and everybody was just earning commission, being gifted. And honestly, that laid the groundwork for everything that we are doing. And we're still very, very selective. We hardly pay any creators that we work with. So honestly, I feel like we treat everybody as if they are an ambassador. Nobody really gets special perks depending on who they are. And I actually feel like that has helped us in the long run, because somebody with 10,000 followers might be driving as many sales as somebody with 1 million followers. And that's just, how the world works now. Sometimes Instagram and TikTok and all these things are kind of confusing with who engages and who doesn't. But yeah, I would say, in terms of gifting, we really just try to treat everybody kind of the same, honestly.
Yeah, similar story for us. I've found just the simple things and these aren't revolutionary ideas, and I imagine you do these same things too, but just simple tours around the office, letting them get to know you, letting them participate on early launches and just communicating and not making it feel so transactional has really been valuable for us and those brands.
Okay. I want to circle back on authentic content. I think, Sam, you mentioned that. How do you, well, let's see, what is authentic content to you, and do you repurpose it? How do you use it? And is there bad content when people are posting about your brand? Like, tell us a little bit more about how you're able to work with the UGC that is generated and how meaningful it is to your business.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like it's tricky in the influencer world. There's brands who are like, we have to give very specific briefs because legal's making us have, our creators say a certain thing, or, however it is. I found the most success when we give people guidelines when they're sharing content about us. Like if we're giving them a discount code, we say, hey, here's your discount code. Here's some suggested talking points about how we talk as a brand. But really, like, these creators have built their following for a reason. There's a reason people follow them. It's for the content that they create, especially when it's not paid content. And so we really want to lean into that, and we want people to be able to talk about our product authentically the way they would, as if, they bought it themselves. So I think that's really important too. Like being flexible with the briefing process, letting people have creativity, that like makes all the difference with content.
That was the perfect answer. I don't know if there's much to add to that. There isn't. There's
Okay.
nothing.
My next question, I think you'll have something for that. But we will open up for questions from the audience in a minute. I'm going to ask one more question. I want to know, just as you guys have been running programs with different companies for many years, what are some of the bottlenecks? What are some of the challenges you've ran into, and how did you overcome some challenges? What comes to mind as some of the greatest challenges you run into as you're working with influencer and ambassador marketing?
So I'm a big believer in trusting your gut. I've been lucky enough that the companies I've been with have almost all gone from 0 to strong 9 figures in a couple of years, and every time that happens, the board starts to put crazy pressure on you to do things differently. And every time I've caved on that pressure, it's been not gone well, right? So like as Purple got bigger, as Kizik got bigger, the board wants you to get a bigger agency, a bigger whatever, Omnicom company or whatever. Like the pressure just changes and the expectation changes. And there's a reason you grew quickly. Like you were doing some things that worked. Like there's a reason Lola's blowing up right now. They're doing a lot of things that are working really well, right? So I don't know. That's probably a lazy answer, but trusting your gut more has been valuable for me.
Yeah, I think to go along with that, I think just scaling influencer programs, right now the biggest bottleneck on my team is, and this is a plug, we're hiring more people on my team. I'm looking for more people to come and join our team to help specifically with influencer and ambassador marketing. But yeah, I really like what you said. I think just not losing sight of the brand and the brand that you've built. I think, there's so many creators out there, and you want to just continue to stay true to your brand and the people who really, convert for you and work for you. And sometimes, there's lots of different ways you can go with influencer marketing, but really just staying true to your brand.
My son's looking for a job. He just got home from a mission.
Love it.
Nice. Any questions? We have a few more minutes. Any questions from, yes?
For someone that's never, hired an influencer, doesn't even know how to find them, like what's the very beginning of like finding an influencer for their product? And to give you context, I own a methylene blue supplement business.
I would say gift your product to as many people as possible to start with, and naturally, I haven't tried your product, so I can't speak to it, but I'm sure there's people out there who genuinely love it. And so I would just say try to DM, email. It's not that hard to find people's contact info. Just email them and put your best foot forward and see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. One thing I've noticed when people are trying to start, they'll often pick 3 to 5 people that they think would be the perfect fit, and they'll overthink about those 3 to 5. And if you gift to the people that are willing and accept it instead of constantly trying to hit up those same people and thinking that's going to change the game for you. The consistency of gifting and finding people that are willing to try your product goes a long way.
Thank you.
Good. Yes, question?
We've also not seen ROI with paid influencers, so we only do commissions as well. So I'd love to hear about the success you've had with paid influencers, and then how do you navigate the conversation when they want to be paid, and you just want to pay them a commission?
I can take that one first. I would say from the paid perspective, make sure you're always negotiating with creators. I always negotiate rates a lot down with creators. The first rate somebody gives you is not the final rate, so always negotiate first. That'll for sure help you have a higher ROI. And then I would just say, like, you just have to continue to test and try lots of different, creators. People genuinely love our product, which is amazing. And so they're just willing to talk about it and not be paid, which is also great. So it's tricky to navigate those conversations. I wish I had like a perfect answer, like do this and it'll be successful. But I would say start first by negotiating the rates.
Again, going back to my lazy answer of trusting your gut, like it's so tempting when a big influencer comes your way and you're like, oh, they want more than our budget allows. And you maybe try to convince the CEO, let's go a little bit further. Like, I've never had that work out for me. So again, the ambassador program continues to be, the more consistent, beneficial angle. It's so tempting when your brand's growing to like want to do bigger and cooler things, and to me that becomes like an ego marketing thing where marketing departments get swayed by the ego of what they're trying to do rather than the right thing to do. And if the budget doesn't make sense, like, you give them the number that makes sense for you. If they don't do it, just back down. And for some reason, that's so hard for marketers to accept, right? Like, they've been negotiating that for months, and they want it to happen, and so they cave, and they spend way more than they wanted to, and then the ROAS never turns out the way you want it to. So, really determining what works for you and sticking to it, and, trusting your gut for the third time.
Great. We are, one more question, and then we're out of time if we can do quick answers.
Is that me?
Yeah, go for it, Daryl.
I'm just going to piggyback that last question. Neither of you guys do a ton of paying creators. What about creators with management agencies that they work with? That almost certainly means that they're going to try to charge a pretty penny. You just avoid that altogether. Do you engage with those talent agencies?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm in the weeds. I'm the one that's directly communicating with all the managers. And honestly, we take the same approach. We gift them first. We offer to gift. We tell them about our ambassador program, how they'll earn commission. I would say 9 times out of 10, people are willing to still do that, even if they have a management team. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, again, I shouldn't even be here. I tried to give them 3 other names that should take the spot before me, but some people backed out, so I'm here. As the brands have gotten bigger, we have dedicated budget with talent agencies or other groups. But again, if I look at the math, say our gifting program, we're giving away 200 products a month, and then, we commit in our budget to do 4 multi-$1,000, sponsorship things. Like, at least from my perspective, maybe Brett or somebody smarter here, if you talk with them after right there. When I look at the math, it rarely was better. Like, the scale of the ambassador program generally was better. But sometimes you catch fire. It's been so rare for me that yes, we do participate in it. We keep wanting it to work. If I look back at my career, I wish I had just gone farther with ambassador instead of keep trying to make the big swing work.
Cool. Yeah, that's great to hear.
Good. Great questions, great answers. If you have more questions, you can talk to them afterwards, but we need to wrap up. Just want to mention that Commerce Catalyst has an ambassador program out by their check-in desk. You can scan the QR code. They're giving out prizes at the end of the day. So get in there, and they're giving out a Traeger, Lola, blankets, and a lot of different cool brands are giving out some things. So join that, and appreciate Sam and Alex for joining us today and helping us out.